What's up, guys, and welcome back to DeeterPlays. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, is there going to be a Halloween event this year? So we're going to talk about the history of Halloween events here in Roblox and whether or not there's going to be an event this year. Halloween events have been on Roblox, on the platform, since about 2009 and have evolved through the years. We've seen so many changes and so many big, actually pretty amazing things and gifts and prizes that people have been able to earn through the years in these Halloween events. Now, in 2009, it just started off pretty simple. There was a Mike's Paintball tournament sort of thing. There was a game similar to that game, and it was just you go in there and you can get a paintball mask or you get a trophy if you win. It really wasn't a really big deal, and they continued to move on. They did a capture the flag thing in 2010. It was in this Halloween capture the flag vampires versus werewolves event. So there was basically a simple capture the flag sort of thing. So if you won a round as a vampire team, you got a vampire crown. If you won as a werewolf, you got a werewolf crown. And if you survived as a townfolk, you got this other item. And there was some other stuff that they put on for sale on the catalog. Now, this is kind of something that became a staple of the Halloween thing and sort of a big thing as a part of it. Now, in this year, it wasn't really that much. It was just a couple of things. There was the werewolf and the vampire package. You guys could get those. And then there were some other things that you could get. So that was 2010. Moving on to 2011, they went back to the paintball theme. So there was a paintball game. It was the Crypts of Dunfort. And if you were on the winning team, you got this. If you were MVP, you got a little trophy. And you got this little mask if you found it on the border of the map. And also there was crows hidden around the map. So if you shot every single one, then you got this pterodactyl item. Then there's always some badges that are associated with that. And they didn't put any like special things for sale on the catalog, but that changes in a very big way, again, like I was saying. So the next year, Halloween 2013, they put out this thing. Now, this one was inspired by the success of the egg hunt. So this is when the event featured like purchasable gifts, different costumes, and a scavenger hunt for different things. So there was a scavenger hunt for little minifigures called BLOXikins that year. And in order to get the items, you had to find a certain amount of BLOXikins. So there was actually this one, the Witching Hour. Now that one was the biggest of the time with 20,000 by 20,000 studs, making it the largest official Roblox game to that date. And there's a bunch of landmarks in there, and there was basically a custom map and a custom game created for a Halloween event. So this is kind of when it technically started really becoming big, but it was part of the evolution of the platform anyways. So there's this storyline that was a part of the game. There was NPCs and there was missions and things, and you had to find these little BLOXikins. When you found these, you would get more and more of these around the place, but as you found these, you would get other prizes in your inventory as a part of finding those. So like these prizes right here, this one was awarded to people who collected like one of them, people who collected 5, at least 10, 15, 20. The number of BLOXikins that you collected had an impact on what you could actually get. Now, the orange banded top hat, now this is a pretty significant item, and I think a lot of these items from back then have even gone limited. So this one was to the person or anybody who got 31 BLOXikins, which I think, you know, there was a total of 31 BLOXikins. Let me see, yeah, so you had to get every single one. The last one was the Headless Horseman. So in order to get that top hat, which was a pretty sought after item, still something that people would want to have, 31. So the number 31, you're going to notice, is kind of big in what they ended up doing. There was also these other accessories that were a part of it. So those were given to players who purchased early access to the game. If you purchased that, you were able to get the zombie head row and the deadly fedora. So those were pretty cool items. And then, of course, they started putting things on the catalog here that were gifts. You would buy it and you didn't know exactly what it was, and then a couple weeks later it would open up and the gift wasn't on sale anymore, but you would get the item. So that was kind of a tradition that started as a part of the Halloween thing here in Roblox as well. Like this right here, 500 Robux, you got a tiger's eye. That's a pretty cool item, and they started putting the eyes in there. Now some of these things would get pretty expensive, like 1,000 Robux. That would get you this Sinister V though. Like the Sinister V is like, that's a pretty popular item, a pretty well-known item at this point. Now, some of these became items that you could purchase later, or they became limited items so that you could purchase them from somebody who already got them. Some of them, not so much. But this one right here, the Big Beautiful Gift of Destiny. So if you purchase this one for 31,000 Robux, so that's like how much it costs to get the Headless Horseman. Now, we know why so many things, like Halloween, 31,000, like the 31,000 Robux thing, it's October, there's 31 days, so it's kind of of big for them to use that 31,000 number, and you'll see in some of these feature ones that they've done it for many years. But you got this Doomsakar. This one right here, it's like a purple, like sinister pumpkin with these horns. So that was a really, really cool item to get at the time. So they continued kind of on this tradition, and they kept calling it BLOXtober. So it was BLOXtober 2013, BLOXtober 2014, 15, 16. They called it BLOXtober for many years, and it was very similar. They would have games that were a part of the whole thing. You would go in and you'd be able to play the games and get some of the prizes, but then there was also these other items that you could buy for Robux, and it would be a gift that you could purchase, and when it would open, you would see what the item was inside. Now, some of these, like this one right here, you get like pauldrons for the Overseer, like Overseer pauldrons. Now, like this one right here, the gift from the Phantom Hunter, you could get something like this right here, the Ghost Deery. So it looks very similar to what they had the previous year. Okay, so they did change it up quite a bit, but that is another highly sought after item. Only so many people got it, but after you purchase that little item there for the BLOXtober, that is what the gift opened up for 31,000 Robux. And then that year they had a game called The Witching Hour Returns. I know a friend who made another game called The Witching Hour. It's a little bit different. It's a totally different game, but it's kind of cool how they use that. And there was all these monsters that you went up against, and then there were some gear items that you could win as well. Here are some of the prizes. You get like the skeleton head, some werewolf heads. There were some different things that you were able to get that went with the badges. It looked like they started doing some noob stuff, so it was some pretty neat items, but you know, it seems like there weren't as many items as like the previous year. Now the next year that we had right here, BLOXtober 2015. So this one, they kind of continued the tradition there. They kept this BLOXtober thing going for a while, and there were some really cool items. Like, wait till you see what they had in BLOXtober 2016. It was just crazy. But what you bought for Robux, you could get a gift again, and then it would open something here, like Skull Bandana, Vlad the Impaler. Like, I've seen so many of these, and so a lot of these ended up, I think, being limited, and people were able to buy them later on. The Zombie Banana, like a bunch of these are some things that are like iconic items here in the catalog at this point. The 31,000 Robux item opened up to reveal the Sparkle Time Classic Pumpkin. So that is a very iconic item as well. Overseer Row, Violet Eye. A lot of people know a lot of these items pretty well. The games that they had, Work at a Pizza Place, Ripple Minigames, and Halloween Zombie Strike. So they had a couple different games. It was sponsored by Nerf that year. So there were items that in the games, if you did the missions, you would get these things, but they had kind of a Nerf bandana thing, the Nerf chest armor, and we had the Nerf tactical vest, and then same thing here with some of these other catalog items. And these were tickets. The price costed tickets, and we don't even have tickets now anymore in Roblox. So rip those things. Now the next year, BLOXtober 2016, this was pretty crazy. They did the same thing, Hallows Eve 2016. They did a trick or treat countdown. Now they put things here on the catalog that you could buy. All these pretty cool items, memorable items. Some of them, I'm not sure how many of these actually went limited. I like this one, the Dark Seed Antlers. But now this one's crazy right here, guys. The Donum Perfectus. This was something that you spent 31,000 Robux to get that thing. You would get this item right here, opened Donum Perfectus, and that thing is what opened up to reveal the Dominus Perfectus. Now this is the cheapest Dominus that is on the catalog, and I think, you know, it's kind of basically, I don't know, I think it's kind of the weirdest looking one, but to be able to get a Dominus at that point for 31,000 Robux, that is pretty cool. Now you can still buy it for 110,000 Robux, but I think they should just call it the Overseer Dominus, because that's pretty much what it is. But anyhow, that year, that was pretty cool. That was the first time you were able to buy something that opened up to reveal a Dominus, so only some people got that thing. Then, of course, like the previous year, they had different games, but much more games that were a part of the event. Design It, Blocks Hunt, Retail Tycoon, Meep City, Super Bomb Survival, and Dinosaur Simulator, and you were able to get a bunch of these things, again, sponsored by Nerf. These kind of had a cooler look on them than the previous things that you were able to get, but each game had its own item that you were able to go in there, do a mission, and get one item for that. So now the next year, things started to change. They went away from the BLOXtober thing. They started doing this Hallows Eve, and this year was really great for the 2017. They made a custom game called Hallows Eve 2017. You were able to go in there, do a bunch of different missions, and the different missions gave you different items on the catalog. There's also Azure Mines and Blocks Hunt as a part of it. it, and you were able to get a bunch of other cool items here. Nerf was a part of it, and they sponsored it that year again. So I wonder if there's anything about, like, I don't know, maybe Nerf pulled out of sponsoring some of these things. You're able to get a really cool mask here if you got everything as a part of it. I think during that year I actually made videos showing you how to get all of these items, and then there were some catalog items that you were able to get for free, and so this was a really memorable and a really good year as I recall. This is the game that was out. It was the Hallows Eve 2017, A Tale of Lost Souls. There was a lot of puzzles and a lot of running around and stuff to discover. There was mazes and a lot of stuff to figure out, and that was a lot of fun to go through. I remember that one, and it was really a good time. Next one, this last year, just last year, remember this? Hallows Eve. We were playing in here. The Hallows Eve game. So I was actually a QA tester, and I got to help for the testing for this whole thing, and they were starting to build it really early on, and this was great. You were able to go through, it was a custom map, and each door teleported you to a game. Unfortunately, each game didn't have its own mission. There were some rides and some really cool things as a part of this, but for most of these you just had to go into a door and then you got a free item. There wasn't that much of a challenge, and I think that they intended to have it to where you could go in and there were some challenges and some things that you had to do in each game, but it was just so much going on and so many different games. Like if you look here, there are so many different games that were a part of it, but some really cool items that all you had to do was find the door. But I think this last year, like 2018, that was the best year as far as free items that you could get out of the catalog, and it was really super easy to get, but it really wasn't that challenging. So that game was the Hallows Eve. Now we're going to talk about this year. What's going on this year? As you can see over here, we saw this little post here in the Roblox dev forums, and it said that the 2019 events have been updated. So we did see previously in 2019 they had an event schedule. I made a video. They did the toys, the Bloxies, not sure how the toys theme fit in for it, the pizza party thing, the egg hunt, and then they changed their mind there somewhere in April and before May, and then they posted this, and they were going to start doing live op events. So those were going to take over traditional events. Like there's going to be no more traditional events that were going to exist in the platform. So basically it says our current monthly and seasonal events. Like it will replace our current monthly and seasonal events. So now Halloween would be the biggest like seasonal event that we've had. Usually there was the egg hunt and there was the Halloween event. Now this is the first time one of our seasonal events have been like really ripped away from us. Now there's the monthly events that we haven't had and we've not had in a while, but that's now we're gonna have to go into another little topic here real quick. The fact that this means there is going to be no Halloween event this year. Again, on the QA group I would know if there was something and there was testing going on, so it sounds like there's going to be no Halloween specific event. But does that mean that there can't be Halloween events in the future or other events in the future? Now this is something that's very key. You guys remember RB Battles, right? That was an event that was sponsored and supported by Roblox. So we got an email here as Star Creators and a little information here about the future of events and how we can make events happen. This is what it comes down to, guys. If we want events, we have to create them as a community, and developers and YouTubers have to work together to make it happen. It says we hope to support more community-driven events. Now this came with the email when RB Battles was coming, and I asked them, I said, can we reveal this information? They said it was okay. Community-driven events in the future, and are currently considering events that involve 10 or more Star Creators. So if I can get 9 more Star Creators, now there's more conditions here, in order to be considered for support, the group must have collectively accumulated 10 million subscribers or followers on YouTube, Twitch, Roblox, as well as 10 million cumulative video views or game visits. Now I've got over 25 million cumulative video views. I can do that. Now game visits, like yes, top developers are eligible for community event support, and we encourage mixed groups. So if we can get some large groups of star creators and developers on board, we can make our own events happen, and Roblox will support it, and they will allow us to have items on the catalog the same way that there was a shield and sword and a bunch of stuff that they had for RB Battles. So all members of the group must be confirmed in the event before applying. So that's the thing, is like we can do this, guys. We can make this happen, but we have to do it as a group. So if any of you Star Creators out there, any of you developers are on board, hit me up. I want to work with you guys. I think we can do something. You know, we could make an egg hunt happen. It could happen. You know, now the challenge at this point is trying to make sure that there's incentive for all the developers and all the creators that are a part of it. You know, like if they're putting a lot of time and work and effort and energy, asking creators and or developers to do that, like that's a lot of work. That's a lot of hard work. You know, so maybe we can just make sure there's a certain amount of support. Maybe it'll be an event sort of thing that like just costs like 20 bucks for access. I don't know, but or 20 Robux for access. Who knows? But we need to figure out ways to try to bring these events back because we know that Roblox will support them, but they are making it so the developers and the community have to work together to make it actually happen before we can get that stuff and free things on the catalog as a part of it as well. So guys, that's what's going on here for Halloween in 2019. There is no event. There is some stuff that has popped up on the catalog, probably some stuff that we're going to be able to buy. All the other Halloween themed stuff seems like it's for toy codes or for gift cards, but then there's this other stuff here that are leaks at this point. They're not actually on there, but I'm thinking they're going to show up and they're going to probably cost Robux if anything, and maybe there will be some sort of Halloween promo code. We shall see, but definitely no big event like we've seen in the past. If you guys are new here, we'd love to have you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. We will talk to you guys later.